Welcome back, F-Bombers. We have a special guest with us today. Her name is Penny Tremblay. I've actually been in touch with Penny for a long time in my career. And I brought her on to talk about a really important topic, something that I hate dealing with as a leader. But Penny has some fantastic tools, strategies for your toolbox to deal with conflict. So, Penny, welcome.
Thank you for having me. This is so exciting.
I'm excited and thrilled to have you.
My first F-bomb podcast ever.
No hold back on this one, okay?
Good to know.
So, Penny, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell me a little bit about yourself, what you do, and kind of your journey to where you've been.
Okay. Well, I am a mom. My two children are in their mid-20s, so I think that's probably one of the most important accomplishments to identify. Yeah. I live in North Bay, Ontario, born and raised in Sudbury. I say I grew up in Toronto because I spent some of my later teen and early 20 years there working in the business district for a direct sales company. And my journey basically started in administration, like I was a secretary. I had a typewriter. I'm dating myself. And corrective tape.
I had a typewriter,
I had a lot
so
of
it's okay.
F-bombs back then. And then I ended up leaving that organization to move to Northern Ontario to start my own business. So I've been an entrepreneur for going on 35 years.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's a feat and a half. Mm-hmm. I was just at a summit where they said the first 5 years are the most critical, and that's where the most businesses fail. So listen, you've surpassed that and done well.
Yeah, I thought I'd be further ahead than I am now. I thought I'd be, I don't know, living on ready to retire, let's say, but I somehow feel like I'm just getting started because my career has morphed from one thing into another. But primarily what I do is I help, I teach people how to play nice in the sandbox at work. And when they don't, I help them fix broken or disconnected relationships. And that has sort of evolved over the last decade because I was focused on workplace relationships, training, and realized that the biggest problem that I can solve for workplaces in relationships is conflict resolution.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit because that's where I first met you. Mm-hmm. So in one of my previous roles, I took your sandbox workshop, basically.
Yes.
And I thought that was like the most informative. I think it was 2 days that I had and got to meet some great people. And some of the tools have stuck with me. So why don't you explain that concept a little bit to everybody about, playing in the sandbox with people?
Sure. Well, thank you for your mention of that public session because we just started another one since then. That was pre-pandemic. And so we just had another one right here in North Bay, Ontario, that started last week. And so it's a cohort training. So I'm gonna pick that back up again, and I'm even gonna do a virtual one for those who aren't local. But it's a niche that I feel is so important because no matter who you are in an organization, you're a leader. Even if you're just getting started and you're coming in from, college or university, you're the leader of your role or you're potentially, you have a lot of opportunity to exert leadership, which I define as the ability to lead yourself and others in that order.
Interesting.
So my work is always looking at the individual, or from the individual's perspective. The best conflict resolution tool really is a mirror.
That's interesting because it kind of goes back to that thinking, Penny, where you're the only person that can change in a situation, right?
That's right.
You can't change other people's behaviors.
Right. But you can change how they affect you.
That's right.
And that's your work. But the average human being just wants to point the blame and say, I can't be, do, or have everything that I want to be, do, or have because it's you, because you're in my way, or my boss is in the way, or my colleagues in the way, or these, the employers in the way, or the unions in the way, or whatever. But really, like we are really in control of our own destinies, and I think that the more we really look at reflecting from the inside out. at how we're showing up or not showing up to the obstacles that are put in front of us, that's really where our growth is.
Okay, so let's talk about conflict then.
Okay.
Let's get to the meat of the matter.
All right.
Let's talk about, what are some of the mistakes that individuals make as they deal with conflict?
The number one mistake is, I call it the ostrich approach. They stick their head in the sand.
Yeah, that was me at the beginning of this.
And they just hope that it's going to go away.
Right.
And I think that when I say that, I'm talking about managers and supervisors, so people who have to manage conflict, because employees expect their managers to manage conflict.
They do.
So if stuff's going on, or I'll say if shit's going down, they expect the manager to deal with that.
That's right.
Because it creates a psychologically unsafe workplace. And we're already stressed enough. We're already maxed out, burnt out, and everybody really wants to have a nice workplace culture.
A safe workplace.
A safe workplace culture.
Yeah. And sticking your head in the sand is not going to help that.
Avoidance is the number one mistake leaders make when conflict surfaces.
Yeah. What's the next mistake that they make?
I've got a list of 5 of them.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about that.
And a worksheet, download lead magnet on my website about this, and a keynote, and it's all my experiences and data that I've gathered over the last 10 years doing mediation and workplace restorations. It's exclusion. So it's not including the right people in the conflict. Here's an example. Susie comes into you to say, I can't work with Johnny anymore. I mean, he's this, he's that, he's everything else. And you need to go and you need to talk to Johnny. And as a manager, you're like, wait a second. Our company policy says you need to go and handle your own conflict, approach. And if you can't resolve it on your own, then you come to me. But what the manager does instead is they attempt to go to Johnny to convey this message from
whoever,
Susie or Mary, whoever she was, and use the same. The employee expects the manager to use the same emotion, but the manager can't do her speaking and listening for her. So what she really needs to do is she needs to get them both in, and she needs to facilitate a dialogue or a conversation so that they both can understand each other.
Right.
That's step 1.
Right.
So they're actually playing mediator in a sense.
That's right. Yeah. Instead of that's how they would manage the conflict, right? Is they're mediating the situation.
That's right.
And allowing for that space for each to speak their...
Right. But instead, they think that if we can go, escalate the situation by going and having a secret conversation over here and then going and relaying what they heard over there, they're not teaching these people how to look each other in the eye and how to be calm and talk about what's happened and how it's affected them and what's a good solution and all of those things.
Yeah. And I think that actually points to a skill too that I learned way back with you and then was kind of reinforced as I went through my kind of journey. The art of listening.
Yes.
Right? And how do you teach that to other individuals? As a manager or as a leader, that's a skill you need to hone in and practice regularly, right? So,
especially when your emotions are charged up.
Oh my God.
Because we just want to go into defensive mode.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And I fall out of line too. Just because I'm an expert and studied at Harvard and wrote the books and do the trainings and when my emotions are riled up, my kids catch me on this. They'll be like, Mom, you're not listening like you teach people. And so then I realized because it's instinct to be defensive.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Would you say our focus on this podcast is about women in leadership. Do you think women deal with conflict differently than men?
Yes.
As leaders? Oh, okay. Let's chat then.
Okay. Yeah, I looked at, I get asked this question a lot, and I don't like to stereotype. And there's so much gender fluidity now that, it's almost like, gee, is this even a fair question?
Yeah.
Or, is this answer going to get me into trouble?
Yeah.
But here's what I think, what I've experienced is that, and I learned this from my dad and mom years ago, men get over it faster. Mm. Men can fight at lunch and go out for a beer after work.
Yep.
Women hold on to that shit for decades. That's why we have gut problems and bowel problems.
Oh, yeah.
Because we are literally holding on to our emotions and unwilling to let go.
Yeah.
More so.
Yeah.
Right? So we take things more personally.
Yeah. And so how do you remedy that?
Well, I think that awareness is always, step number one is just being really honest with yourself. Like, am I carrying this around? Am I talking about this to friend A and B and C and D and my partner and my mom and my friend? Because I think that where attention goes, energy flows and results show. That's a Jack Canfield quote. But, it really I'm a real believer in the law of attraction, and what we think about, we bring about. So I think that one of the things that I would recommend is some self-reflection and really looking at what am I bringing to this conflict?
Right.
What am I doing or not doing that is keeping this situation going? And also, I'd really like to talk about the difference between gossip and venting.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
Okay. So people, I don't want to stereotype, but it's common in workplaces that people gossip.
Yes.
And so if there's already conflict brewing between two people or two cliques, let's say, then one person has an interaction, then they go to their clique and it's like, oh, guess what happened now? Or, guess what that asshole boss did next? Or, so there's a lot of gossiping about the challenges regarding people. And let's face it, gossip is never positive. So then the difference between gossip and venting is that I think it's important to vent, like a machine that builds steam. It needs to blow off steam so that it can continue to run safely and not blow up itself, right?
Right.
So I think venting to someone, not some 15.
Yeah.
Someone.
Yeah.
Venting and going to say, oh, can you believe that, this interaction with my boss happened again today? And the person that they're venting to should be helping them find a solution.
Right.
And also, a bonus plan would be holding them accountable to making that integrating that solution by the end of the day or by tomorrow or something, so that the person that's being vented to is actually like a mentor or somebody saying, thank you for sharing this with me. I will keep it in confidence.
Yeah.
What are you thinking about doing? Do you have any suggestions or solutions? Can I help you with suggestion? Did you want me to just listen, or did you want me to help you find a solution?
Yeah.
In other words, the buck should really stop there.
Right.
Right. And the person venting should be walking out with vented, like de-escalated, cleared, and a solution, like something to attempt or try.
Yeah. I think that harkens back to, so everything you're kind of talking to me about, really resonates in terms of being authentic as a leader, but also having a mentor that's there to listen to you. And we've talked about that on several different episodes. One that's just aired, we talked about types of leadership and how being authentic is important. But also mentorship is so important. And maybe that's another facet to that mentorship, is having that person who you can vent to, understand, but also hold you accountable.
Yes.
Right.
That's the extra step there is, you if you think about a machine, it's not like venting to pollute all the other machines around it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It's venting to, blow off its steam and de-escalate itself. And you know what? Sometimes we don't need a solution, but we just need a safe place to go and vent. But if you're the type of person that has people coming into your office venting constantly, that's a load to bear too.
Yeah.
And there's one of those in every office conflict.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it just furthers or exacerbates the conflict that's happening, I find, in the office itself.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, let's talk. So we talked about the first two mistakes.
Okay.
What are the other three?
The other three? Accommodating division.
Oh.
Okay, so imagine your kids are fighting and you send them to their rooms.
Right.
Well, you don't leave them there for 6 months.
Is that an option?
So, dotted lines on the org chart.
Yeah.
So-and-so couldn't get along with their manager. So we have them reporting up through, head office in a different country, or we took her off this team because her and him couldn't get along. Like, what kind of an example does that set?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that temporary division, like, you do need to go home and cool off.
Yeah.
But you need to fix the problem.
Yeah.
You need to fix that problem. And I don't know how else to fix problems other than having authentic dialogue and conversations in closed sessions, or, confidentially or privately, or with the entire group if it's affected and tainted everybody.
Yeah.
But in a safe space where people feel that it's okay to talk about these things.
Yeah. And I think you have to be very willing to be uncomfortable in those settings, right? Raw, uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I am not good with being uncomfortable, but I'm getting better. It takes time and practice.
Yes.
Right? And having a clear mind when you go in, right?
And also realizing that our comfort zones really aren't very comfortable either.
No, that's true. It is so true.
Discomfort is really just a reasonable excuse to growth. It's reasonable, but it's still an excuse.
Yeah. So let's leave the other two.
Okay.
Because I want people to go to your website.
Okay.
And I do want them to take that course because it was very valuable for me. What's one piece of advice you would give women who are going into leadership or who are in leadership and how to deal with conflict, basically?
Okay. So I recommend that every woman carries a Q-tip in their pocket. Okay. And that is an acronym for quit taking it personally.
Oh.
Because we take things personally.
Yeah.
We're meaning-making machines. What if things just meant nothing?
Yeah.
What if we have a problem in the customer service department just means we have a problem in the customer service department, and it's not you.
Yeah.
And it's not the fact that you're the first female at the C-suite table. It's not, I think that we as women are moving into we're moving into careers that we never held before.
Yeah.
We're moving into positions that we deserve and we've earned, but it's new because companies are looking at the value of diversity and having an equitable voices at the table and whatnot. And so I think even just coming into those situations and environments, women are already feeling new at this, or, not like a good fit. And I think that is a perception that they themselves need to look at from the inside out as well, and really grow the confidence that I've earned this seat. I'm going to do my best. I'm not perfect, but I'm going to, I deserve to be here.
Yeah.
I think some of the conflict that I've helped women resolve over time has been a lot about their own confidence.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I said something in the boardroom and people just glazed over it. And I say, okay, so why did that happen? Well, because I'm a woman. Well, really? Is that why? Like, did you say something? Did you say, hold on, before you guys move on to the next topic, did you hear my opinion?
Yeah.
And maybe they did and maybe they didn't. Maybe you need to speak up, or, maybe they're just all bulldozing over your opinion because they want to get their opinions out. But, we shouldn't be making up meaning.
Yeah.
And making assumptions that we don't belong, that we don't matter, that our voice doesn't matter, that people are not valuing us. If somebody comes right out and says, I don't value you because you're a woman, well, that's a different story. But until that happens, why think there?
Okay, so from now on, everybody's going to be carrying a Q-tip, and you're going to remember that. Quit taking it personally. It's like the same expression I heard, fine, feelings inside, not expressed.
Ooh.
And I was like, that I'm going to carry with me, and I have for the last 15 years, right? But Penny, thank you so much for coming on today. I would highly encourage everyone to go take a look at our website. Penny, what's your website so that we know?
It's pennytremblay.com.
Perfect. That's super simple. Go take a look. Highly encourage everyone to do that and take a look at her workshops and her your downloadable material. Thanks so much.
Thank you. And I have a copy of my book for you today.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yes. I brought it for you. It's called Sandbox Strategies for the New Workplace, Conflict Resolution from the Inside Out. 8 playful strategies, of course, that follow the PLAYNICE.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much, Penny. And we'll see you later at Bombers.